This is the Samsung Galaxy A12, and I gotta say, Samsung's naming scheme for the Galaxy A series of smartphones is actually very intuitive, and it makes a lot of sense because as the Galaxy A12 name suggests, the first number, the 1 here, actually suggests that it's one tier above 0, which is not the most entry-level smartphone out there. And then there's a 2, that means it's the second generation of this A1 series of smartphones. But today what we have here is just the Galaxy A12, and it is actually quite a decent entry-level-ish smartphone, and we'll get into it right here. So we'll be reviewing the Galaxy A12 in a total of 6 different aspects, like what we do for any other smartphones that we reviewed. Firstly, the design. So by looking just at the back of the Galaxy A12, the first thing that I realized is that the color here is really beautiful. Even though Samsung just calls it blue, I would say that this hue of blue is slightly green. So if you're looking at a different angle, you can see the green color popping out. And then there's also a 2-part geometrical design here. So the first one here, you got 45-degree lines all across the top here. And then at the bottom piece here, you got just a basic matte finish, which I think is pretty good looking. It's unique in its own way, and I think that's fantastic. Now, looking at the front of the display, you get a 6.5-inch PLS LCD screen, which is actually just Samsung's way of doing IPS screens. It's claimed to be better than the conventional IPS display, but throughout my use case here, the screen is actually looking pretty fine. It's bright enough, and the colors also look decent all the way through. Now, one thing that I realized though is that the pixel response time seems to be a bit slow, because when I start to swipe around the home screen menu or just the settings menu, I can see the pixel trails, it kinda doesn't respond as fast as possible. So yeah, that might be a bit distracting to certain users. And it's also running at 720p in resolution, which I think it's okay. But I do wish Samsung upgraded it to 1080p instead. And also, before I forget, there is no under-display fingerprint scanner and whatnot, because all of the fingerprint scanning is done on the power button itself. So yeah. And for the cameras, there are a total of 4 of them on this phone right here, which is housed in this square cutout at the back of the phone, which I think it looks pretty decent. And the specs of these 4 cameras are as shown on the screen here. And the picture quality of these 4 cameras here is actually pretty decent, and also characteristically Samsung as well. The main camera takes some amazing pictures with punchy colors and also great contrast. And switching over to the ultra-wide angle camera, the colors and contrasts are retained, but it loses clarity. So as you can see in this picture right here, the patch of grass becomes a patch of colors instead. It's quite normal for a mid-range smartphone like this to have this type of ultra-wide angle camera quality though. And as for the macro camera, it does take some amazing macros. Like this shot right here, it's just a random shot that I took. But I do wish that it's more than just 2 megapixels in resolution, because it would be a lot better if this picture is taken in at least like 5 megapixels. And as for the specs, for this particular unit of the Galaxy A12 that we have, comes with a MediaTek Helio P35, 3 gigs of RAM and also 32 gigs of storage. And generally, the performance out of this phone is not as snappy as any other high-end smartphones as expected, but it's decent enough to be used in a day-to-day basis. And also here are some benchmarks just for completionist sake. Now for the battery life though, this phone comes with a 5000 mAh battery, and through our usual PC Mark battery life test, it can last for 14 hours and 38 minutes to be exact. And through this data, we can tell you that the battery life out of this phone, well, it can last you for 2 days with just one single charge without much of an issue at all. And as for the charging speed though, it requires 2 hours to charge from 15 to 100%, which I would say it's not really quick, but it's not really that slow as well, so it's kind of okay in terms of charging time. Now as for software though, this phone comes with Samsung's One UI Core version 2.5 running on top of Android 10. What does the Samsung's One UI Core mean here is that You don't get a lot of One UI features. For example, Samsung Pay, Edge Panel, those are both features that I use nearly on a daily basis. So this One UI core here looks and feels like One UI, but it is stripped of all of the exclusive features that are found on higher end Samsung smartphones. Now, down to the price. The Galaxy A12 comes at an official price of 799 ringgit for the 6 gigs of RAM plus 128 gigs of storage version. But I have seen some other sellers selling it at a lower price, for example this one at 699 ringgit. And before you head into the comment section below and start typing, oh, I know some other smartphone brands that are selling at a better specs but at a lower price, well, keep in mind that Samsung's One UI offers a much better user experience compared to any other smartphones of this price bracket that we've tried so far. So it literally boils down to what you want in a smartphone. So if you're looking for better user experience, I would suggest you to get this. But if you're looking for better specs, maybe you want to play some games or something like that, then get those smartphones instead. So it ultimately depends on what you as the customer wants in a smartphone. And yeah, that's it. That's all we want to share with you about the Galaxy A12. It's a beautiful phone, and I just like this color. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. And we'll see you in the next video.